Muzan stepped forward, extending his demon finger towards the master. He had heard enough lecturing. Now, it was time for him to end both their lives. The crows immediately notified all the Hashira. Get back to the mansion quickly, because the master is in danger. Everyone ran at top speed, hoping to make it in time. The reason this happened wasn't due to carelessness, but because the master wanted it this way. Remember, during the Hashira meeting, the Wind Hashira suggested 2 Hashira stay behind to protect the master, but the Stone Hashira said no. Since becoming a Hashira at age 19, he had been advising this for 8 years, but the master wouldn't listen, because doing so would reduce the core strength of the Demon Slayer Corps. From the beginning, the Ubuyashiki family has been like this. They don't care about their personal lives, because that would affect the overall situation. Everyone hoped to make it back in time, but they couldn't, because the explosion was starting. It started from where Muzan was and spread throughout the mansion. Before Muzan could do anything, there was a deafening explosion that lit up the entire forest. Everyone stared, unable to believe their eyes. Nobody could have predicted this. Tanjiro smelled charred flesh mixed in the smoke. Muzan flew out, his body not intact. But it didn't really matter, since he's super regeneration. He's just angry that the master wasn't scared at all before dying, his face still gentle and serene. Muzan also anticipated the master would pull a trick, but he didn't expect him to go this far, sacrificing his wife, children, and himself just to burn him to death. Muzan felt that the explosives were mixed with small thorn-like particles. Their purpose was to slow down his super regeneration, even for just a second. Because of this, he realized something else was weighing for him. He knew the Hashira were getting closer and closer. When his body was finished regenerating, unexpectedly, fleshy balls floated around. When they turned into sharp thorns, he realized it was blood demon art. His body was fixed in place, and he couldn't move. Muzan thought of absorbing all these thorns to free himself. Suddenly, Temeo appeared, poking her hand straight into his stomach. She got there without being detected because she had invisibility charms attached to her body. She looked up and smiled at him because he had absorbed her hand. Because what was in her hand was the Demon 2 human transformation drug. Muzan was furious, pushing Temeo's head down and transmitting memories to her. This blood demon art was her husband's skill. Muzan didn't kill him, it was Temeo herself who did it. Muzan turned her into a demon and forced her to eat her husband and children. She cried, knowing the truth. So, she would die together with him right here. The Stone Hashira arrived right after, his flail charged with power. A massive blow shattered Muzan's head completely. This future had been predicted by the Master 5 days prior. Muzan would come, and the Master would be the bait. The rest, he left to the Stone Hashira to handle. Even though his head was destroyed, Muzan could still regenerate at supersonic speed. This means he only has one weakness: sunlight. The mission of all the Hashira is to hold here until the sun rises. Many blood tentacles poured out from his body, but they didn't trouble the Stone Hashira at all. Just in time, all the other Hashira arrived. The Stone Hashira sensed it and yelled loudly that Muzan did it. I saw him kill the master with my own eyes. Their anger reaching its peak, they all charged forward simultaneously, shouting their strongest techniques. Gripping their swords tightly, their breathing forms appearing. Muzan smiled, because he still had the upper hand. Immediately, the doors opened simultaneously. Before the Hashira could touch the ground, they all fell down below, because they had no foothold. Those who weren't there also suffered the same fate, because the doors opened across a wide radius. Like Inosuke, for instance, who was about to sneak a snack, got pulled down. Genya was practicing shooting, also got pulled down. And the whole group of new recruits on patrol also shared the same fate. Basically, anyone around this town got pulled into a hole. They all fell down and were confused, not knowing what was happening. Only Zenitsu was very calm. He had changed a lot since reading that letter. Tanjiro fell onto a pillar, facing Muzan. He was delighted, thinking, "Who are you to try and ambush me? You've all fallen into my trap up here. You won't get out easily." Tanjiro tried to jump up, but he kept falling down below. He yelled loudly that, "I will destroy you no matter what." Tanjiro was still free falling. Everything was out of reach. He needed a foothold. Luckily, the water Hashira grabbed him and pulled him up. Before he could even say thanks, he immediately encountered a demon trying to ambush them. Fortunately, Tanjiro's keen sense of smell helped him take it down easily. Immediately, the door opened, pulling in countless demons. The two brothers quickly fought together, using water breathing, fifth form, water surface slash. The attack was cool, but the pose they ended up in was awkward. Anyone looking from behind would definitely misunderstand. Both brothers were completely embarrassed and quickly ran away. The serpent Hashira was also having an intense fight in another room. Since Mitsuri was following him, of course, he had to show off. The mist Hashira was running with the stone Hashira. He wondered why the master did what he did, because the master only had a few days left to live, so he wanted to sacrifice himself in a meaningful way. The wind Hashira sat in one place, tormented. He couldn't protect the master. Seime's spirit was unstable. Then a group of demons rushed at him, perfect for the wind Hashira to unleash his anger. Unlike Inosuke, who was running around everywhere looking for an opponent, he really wanted to try out his new techniques after long, tiring days of training. Zenitsu was also running alone in a special place. Notably, he wasn't scared like before. It seemed something had changed in his personality. He had set his sights on an opponent for himself. The insect Hashira slowly followed the blood to a room. In it, a demon was eating young girls alive. It was none other than upper rank 2, the Ma. A memory suddenly appeared. The insect Hashira witnessed her older sister die in her arms. That was the flower Hashira. While dying, she desperately begged the insect Hashira not to do anything foolish. Give up being a swordsman and live a peaceful life. Sister, I want you to have a normal happiness like any other girl. But the insect Hashira didn't listen. How could she just let the demon who killed her older sister get away with it? Based on what the insect Hashira found out, the demon had a distinctive mark, a streak of blood on his forehead. A's mouth always wore an innocent smile. His demeanor was very calm and gentle. Right, it's him. It's upper rank 2, the Ma. A girl was still alive, screaming for help. The Ma saw this and gently swung a blade of air. Luckily, the insect Hashira was faster and carried the girl away. But that was wrong. When Dama actually attacked, he cut off the girl's limbs right in front of the insect Hashira. His weapons are a pair of fans woven with many sharp blades. This guy's ideology is messed up. He founded a cult called Eternal Paradise, teaching principles of life that made people feel happy and worship him. After that, he would eat everyone, leaving no bones behind. At that point, his followers would be freed from suffering as if they were living inside him. The insect Hashira angrily got straight to the point. Do you remember this Haori? It belonged to my sister. You have committed unforgivable sins. The Ma heard that and remembered immediately. The flower Hashira, the girl who used flower breathing. A sweet and lovely girl. Too bad I couldn't eat her because the sun came up. If I could choose again, I wouldn't leave anything uneaten. The insect Hashira had endured beyond her limit. She pierced upper 2's head with a sword. But he wasn't scared at all. Immediately after, his blood demon art was unleashed. The air around him seemed to freeze. It was cold enough to tear anyone's lungs. Damas suggested that if she wanted to kill him, she should cut off his head. But then he swayed and fell down. Blood poured out of his mouth. He had been poisoned by the insect Hashira's sword. Actually, it wasn't serious at all, because Dama can break down toxins instantly. Just a glance, and he realized the insect Hashira's trick. The poison was hidden in her scabbard. Every time she sheathed her sword, a different type of poison would be mixed in. The Masmer, you want to taste all the poisons you have, as you wish. Let's see how many kinds you can eat. Going back to the past, when Dama was still a child, his father used him as a divine treasure to be worshipped. The father founded a cult and advertised it to everyone. From then on, everyday people would come and kneel, begging Dama to bless them. Thanks to his acting talent from a young age, Dama easily put on a show in front of everyone and gained their trust. On the surface, he cried for the people, but inside, he thought differently. These fools, are they crazy? Heaven, gods, Buddhas don't exist. That's just a fantasy story from human imagination. Why have people lived for decades and still haven't realized such an obvious thing? Humans can't break the cycle of birth, old age, sickness, and death. When you die, that's it. There's no afterlife. But whatever, Dama doesn't care. If humans want it that way, he'll go along with them. He'll eat everything, leaving nothing uneaten, as offered by those very people. So that's according to your wishes, right? It's not like I forced you. While we were learning about Dama's past, outside, he had been stabbed 5 times by the insect Hashira, corresponding to 5 types of poison that had been injected. That, he was completely fine, while the insect Hashira was panting, both tired and surprised. Upper rank 2 demon indeed, not just a title. Dama stood there smirking. He knew the insect Hashira's lungs were severely damaged by the ice lotus attack at the start of the fight, causing her blood to freeze. Dama fanned it into small ice particles that spread throughout the insect Hashira's body. If she continued using her breathing techniques, it would be very dangerous. Ignoring the warning, the insect Hashira continued using her chain techniques to activate more poisons. She attacked Dama continuously. He was surprised because the insect Hashira was very fast, the fastest among the Hashira he had ever met. But that was just a sarcastic remark. As he swept a diagonal fan attack across the insect Hashira, he continued to suggest, instead of using poison, she should cut off his head. But she couldn't do it, because her physical strength was too weak. The insect Hashira felt hurt. She cried. Maybe she couldn't defeat this demon. In her mind, her older sister appeared, encouraging the insect Hashira. Get up, don't give up, fight until your last breath. That's what you wanted, isn't it? Fight to avenge me. Fight to protect your younger sister, Kanao. Receiving the encouragement, the insect Hashira actually stood up. The Ma was surprised again, because he had cut through her collarbone, lungs, and ribs. Along with the amount of blood lost, she could still stand up. It was truly miraculous. Seeing her in so much pain, I feel so sorry for you. So don't do anything reckless. I'll take your head soon. While he was still laughing, the insect Hashira unleashed her insect breathing. She moved erratically, causing the bridge to crumble. The Ma couldn't predict her next move, so he had to pay the price. A sword pierced through Dama's throat and pinned him to the ceiling. The insect Hashira's emotions reached their peak. She recalled her old memories. She used to have a very happy family. Then one day, demons came and stole everything good from her. Before things got worse, the stone Hashira arrived and saved the two sisters. From then on, her older sister and the insect Hashira promised that when they grew up, they would join the Demon Slayer Corps to destroy the demon blood. Now, the insect Hashira had achieved it. She had defeated an upper rank 2 demon. This would save countless lives in the future. But that was only in her thoughts. The Ma was still smirking. That poison still had no effect on him. The insect Hashira was exhausted and fell to the ground. The Ma rushed over, hugged the insect Hashira. He wouldn't let such a precious girl fall and break. He was very moved, admiring the insect Hashira's spirit to overcome death and strive to achieve her goal. You're truly worthy of being food for me to digest. So, do you have any last words? Go to hell, you bastard. Tana also followed the smell of blood to get here. What she saw was the image of the insect Hashira being eaten alive. The insect Hashira immediately gave her a hand signal, telling her to attack. Kana jumped forward, deploying flower breathing, 4th form. But Dama, with incredibly fast speed, jumped down below, because he recognized the attack and dodged in time. The insect Hashira's body was merging with Dama. He was delighted as delicious food came one after another to offer itself to him. In another place, Zenitsu had reached the place he needed to find. Someone connected to him throughout his childhood. That was his senior, Kaigaku. After running together for a while, Tanjiro and the water Hashira were also separated by a room. Fortunately, Tanjiro managed to grab onto the door frame and still kept pace with the water Hashira. This building felt like a living creature. Was someone controlling it? Some crows with magic eyes flew around the Hashira. They reported that the insect Hashira had sacrificed herself while facing upper rank 2, the Ma. The ones controlling the crow messengers were the remaining 3 children of the Ubuyashiki family. Despite their parents and 2 older sisters having just sacrificed themselves, the current circumstances didn't allow the 3 remaining children to grieve. They had to suppress their pain to help the Hashira win this battle. This is Kirya, the only son of the family, only 8 years old, but he will be responsible for rebuilding the family, inheriting his father's will. Behind him were 2 younger sisters, also sharing the same mindset. All 3 were raised strictly by their parents from a young age, so it seemed they weren't simply children anymore. They were like monarchs dwelling in children's bodies. Currently, the 3 were controlling the crows flying throughout the enemy base, creating an overview map of the entire battle. They saw that the Hashira were being pulled away from Muzan and were gradually being drawn towards the north of the fortress. The 2 brothers met again, but their greeting was only full of playful jabs. Kaigaku mocked Zenitsu for being too weak, a useless guy who could only use one technique from the thunder-breathing set. Zenitsu told Kaigaku he was a chicken, knowing all the thunder-breathing techniques except the one Zenitsu possessed. Kaigaku, an ungrateful wretch, was taught to become the future Thunder Hashira, that chose the evil path to become a demon. Do you know that because of you, Master had to commit seppuku? He died alone in pain and nobody knew about it. But Kaigaku laughed cheerfully. He didn't care about that at all. The only thing he pursued was power. He was even happy to know that his master committed suicide. At this point, what kind of brothers are we anymore? I will use the first form to kill you and repay master. The two had a super fast speed duel. When they stopped, Kaigaku realized he had been slashed at some point. He remembered the day he turned traitor. When he was the best disciple of the Thunder Hashira, he lost miserably to Upper Rank 1. Instead of fighting to the death like other swordsmen, he knelt down and begged Upper One for his life. To do anything, be a cow, a dog, crawl on the ground, just to live. Seeing that desperate desire to live, Upper One gave him his blood. Become a demon, that will help you become stronger. So, that slash didn't seriously injure him. His demon cells regenerated, demon blood made him much stronger. Consecutive thunder breathing techniques rained down on Zenitsu. He only defended using the first form, the only one. Zenitsu realized Kaigaku had eaten many humans to become so strong. He continuously used techniques that damaged Zenitsu. He pushed Zenitsu into a deep pit. Zenitsu remembered those years. He always protected his senior brother from the gossip of the other disciple. He looked up to Kaigaku because he was the strongest, the successor of thunder breathing. Now he had joined the demons. Once a betrayer, always a betrayer. Zenitsu had to personally eliminate this traitor. He took a run up from the wall and bounced back up. Thunder breathing, 7th form was deployed. Incredible speed cut off Kaigaku's head. His head was severed from his neck, and he didn't even see Zenitsu unleash the move. This was a new technique. He had never learned it. Had Master been hiding this ultimate technique from him all this time? But no. This was a technique Zenitsu invented himself. He hoped to use it one day to stand alongside his senior brother. Kaigaku was frustrated at being defeated by such a weak junior. He was angry, but he couldn't do anything, because his body started to disintegrate. At least dragging Zenitsu down with him offered some comfort. But no, Muichiro was present to whisper in Kaigaku's ear, "Like hell you are, you die alone." After that, he carried Zenitsu to safety. While struggling with death, Zenitsu actually reached the netherworld. He met his grandfather there. He cried and apologized for not responding to the letters he wrote. He tried to jump across the river, but the flowers by the roadside blocked him. His grandfather on the other side cried, "You are my happiness and pride." Outside, the new recruits were trying to rescue Zenitsu. He was quite seriously injured. His body was increasingly cracking. Fortunately, Muichiro was here. He is a demon created by Tameo. With long years of serving her, his healing ability was no joke. He was gradually saving Zenitsu from the brink of death. It was lucky Zenitsu met Kaigaku early. If it were a year later, after he had fully assimilated with demon blood, he would have been impossible to eat. Meanwhile, the new recruits were having intense combat with some small demons elsewhere. Tanjiro's brother stopped when there was a huge tremor. Tanjiro smelled a familiar scent approaching. An old opponent he had let escape. Upper rank 3, Akaza, appeared immediately. He charged into combat. Tameo was being held back by a pile of viscous fluid. Muzan had turned into that pile of flesh to try and expel the demon 2 human transformation drug. In just a moment, he would succeed. Tameo's life was in danger. The 3 Ubuyashiki siblings continued to draw the underground map every time a crow flew by. Outside, the former Flame Hashira and former Sound Hashira were providing backup. So there was nothing to fear. Nezuko was being cared for by the swordsmith elder. She had drunk the demon 2 human transformation drug created by Tameo, but it caused very uncomfortable side effects, forcing her to struggle against it. Only by doing this could she thwart Muzan's goal. His dream of walking in sunlight would be shattered. Back with Tanjiro, he was very quick. He jumped back, dodging that punch. Using Dance of the Fair God, a single slash cut off Akaza's arm. He continued to swing his remaining arm right at Tanjiro. Using Dance of the Fair God, Tanjiro gracefully weaved around it. A slash was deployed. It cut diagonally across Akaza's head. The water Hashira standing there watch had to exclaim that "You've really gotten a lot stronger, kid. Your skill is comparable to a Hashira. Seriously." Akaza didn't deny. He had really switched into serious mode. His compass needle was deployed, proving that Tanjiro was no longer a nobody. Not wanting his junior to be in danger, the water Hashira rushed up to challenge him first. Using water breathing, the two had a very evenly matched fight. Akaza had to admit the water Hashira was quite strong. It had been 50 years since he last fought someone with such skill. Tanjiro rushed in, interrupting their conversation. But unfortunately, Akaza dodged and gave him a slash to the neck. But also unfortunately, the water Hashira rushed in and cut off that arm, saving Tanjiro's life. Akaza's regeneration speed was comparable to Sound. The water Hashira delivered an opening blow, blocking his vision, but it wasn't enough to stop him, as he gave Tanjiro a kick. That blow was very light, but it still made him spit blood. Something was wrong with his punches and kicks. The water Hashira continued to charge forward, but after that, he was also hit by a powerful kick that sent him flying several kilometers through rooms. Only Tanjiro was left facing trouble with Akaza. The two continued to exchange beautiful martial arts moves. Of course, Tanjiro alone couldn't contend with him. So Akaza had time to stand there and mock him. "You're too weak, that's why you need others to guide and support you." Feeling stung, Tanjiro immediately retorted, "So what? The strong will protect the weak. The weak will become stronger from that, and they will come back to protect those weaker than themselves. That is the law of karma. How could you understand?" The elders said, "When you eat the fruit, remember the tree planter." Akaza was stunned upon hearing this. It was exactly what an important person had said to him long ago, making him visualize that person standing right behind him. Tanjiro was surprised to see Akaza reaching behind him. Was he hallucinating? Immediately after, the two continued their intense combat. Akaza constantly closed in on him in an instant. Consecutive fluid strikes put Tanjiro on the defensive. He noticed the attacks were always aimed at his weak points and had a magnetic-like pull. There was no way to dodge, so he stopped defending and switched to attacking. This surprised Akaza, so he immediately received a slash across the neck. Riding the momentum, Tanjiro continued to charge forward with the dance of the fair god. In a moment, Akaza caught the sword and held it fixed in his palm. Tanjiro couldn't pull it out. Headbutt technique was deployed, hitting Akaza directly in the face. But he's also a stubborn guy, so he was fine. Tanjiro felt fear, because what good is a swordsman who loses his sword? Immediately after, Akaza's hand was cut off by the water Hashira, who had returned to solve this problem. The water Hashira was truly furious about being sent flying so far. The Demon Slayer mark was activated. He easily dodged Akaza's punch. An incredibly fast grazed his neck area. A mark had appeared, so the water Hashira's speed was much faster than before. Consecutive slashes inflicted damage on Akaza. The problem was, he was gradually catching up to the water Hashira's speed to inflict damage back. Tanjiro stood outside, helpless, watching. "They're too fast, I can't keep up." He had to calm down and figure out how to help. At this rate, the water Hashira would lose in terms of stamina sooner or later. He recalled clues from the fight between the flame Hashira and Akaza. The keyword was fighting spirit. It was present throughout the battle. Tanjiro immediately thought of Inosuke's ability. Inosuke has incredibly sensitive skin to everything around him. As soon as any living creature looks at Inosuke's skin, he knows exactly where it's looking. This is extremely effective when someone wants to ambush Inosuke. Inosuke's body will warn him, causing pain all over. It's like a sixth sense. It helps Inosuke react easily without looking. But conversely, if someone doesn't intend to ambush Inosuke, the skin won't warn him at all. From this deduction, Tanjiro connected it to Akaza. What would happen if he attacked him without any fighting spirit? So he decided to try it once. Dance of the Fire God, charging forward, aiming his sword at Akaza's neck. By reflex, he caught Tanjiro's sword. After that, Tanjiro quickly dodged to let the water Hashira continue fighting, and he realized how Akaza's martial arts work. The water Hashira's stamina was constantly being depleted. Yet Akaza showed no signs of tiring. That was a huge difference between humans and demons. With his compass needle, Akaza could easily predict the water Hashira's attack directions, and from there, counterattack with perfect accuracy. The water Hashira still had to fight defensively to let Tanjiro recover. Sitting in one place, Tanjiro was concentrating intensely to reach the transparent world. He had to adjust his breathing, clear all distractions, making his mind completely blank. Meanwhile, Akaza's fist broke the water Hashira's sword, and then a punch went through the water Hashira's chest, sending blood splattering everywhere. "Wait, stop for a moment." That was from Akaza's arm. It had been cut off by Tanjiro without him even noticing. Tanjiro was in the transparent world state. Akaza felt fear. Every cell in him urged him to destroy Tanjiro immediately. The compass needle appeared and the ultimate technique was deployed. Barrages of punches were unleashed in all directions. In the transparent world state, Tanjiro could see the movement of all living creatures down to the cellular level. Everything moved very slowly under his eyes, but the water Hashira was severely injured. He also used his last bit of strength to block the fatal punches, protecting his life. Meanwhile, Tanjiro was standing towering behind him, and Akaza didn't even notice. Instead of slowly walking up and slicing off his head, Tanjiro yelled loudly, "Akaza, I will cut your head off right now," giving him a chance to become alert and swing a punch. In this state, Tanjiro was very fast. He circled behind Akaza. Akaza didn't sense anything because Tanjiro's fighting spirit was zero. He was fighting subconsciously, not thinking about anything. An incredibly fast Firish cut off Akaza's head before he could even do anything. Refusing to accept it, he tried to keep his head from leaving his neck. Before it could reconnect, the water Hashira threw his sword. It pierced through Akaza's head, sending his head rolling on the ground. Everything ended here. The head was gradually disintegrating. Tanjiro exited the transparent world state and returned to normal. But the water Hashira felt something was very wrong. Akaza's body hadn't disintegrated yet. The compass needle was activated one more time. The slash wound on his neck had closed up, preventing blood from pouring out. The kick sent Tanjiro flying and stuck to the wall. Tanjiro had passed out and lost his ability to fight. The water Hashira couldn't believe his eyes anymore. Akaza was trying to make his head no longer his weak point. He was evolving, just like the Demon King Muzan. The water Hashira grabbed his sword and charged in to protect Tanjiro. The slash wounds healed immediately, proving that Akaza's strength hadn't decreased after losing his head. The water Hashira continued slashing in vain. "If you want to kill Tanjiro, you'll have to go through me." Akaza accepted that challenge. Akaza charged forward. Suddenly, a woman appeared, holding his hand. "Please stop. Let's go somewhere else." His memory stream was unlocked. At that time, Akaza was still a child. To earn money to buy medicine for his father, he stole and robbed around the village. Even when beaten and bruised by the officials, he didn't give up his habit. Until one day, his father hanged himself, leaving him a letter. "I'm sorry for bothering you, my son. Live an honest life. Don't steal anymore. Your life will turn a new page, instead of struggling to support your father like this." Kneeling before his father's grave, Akaza was furious at his poor fate. Why is fate so cruel? Why did it give my father a serious illness? Why did it take so much money to cure it? From then on, he hated humans. He would beat up anyone who got in his way. This violent habit led him to be expelled from the village. The 3 marks on his arm proved it. And one day, he met an old man who wanted to challenge him. But the old man punched him so hard he was unrecognizable. Seeing he was pitiful, the old man took him back to his dojo. "To stay here, you have to take care of my daughter." This was the first time the 2 destined children met. One was brutal and aggressive, the other was weak and full of sickness. From then on, Akaza was the one who replaced her father in taking care of her. All of her personal activities, from changing clothes, bathing, to using the toilet, were all helped by Akaza. These things were incredibly simple for him, as he had experience in caring for his sick father. This family seemed to have changed Akaza's rebellious personality. Standing by the well, the 2 master and disciple talked while drinking water. This land and dojo weren't the old man's. This was a gift from an old man when the master saved him from robber. That's why the master became an accidental dojo head with the Soryu style. Because the dojo next door, Tenjutsu, always came to harass them, this dojo had no students at all. Akaza was the first. The old man taught him all the Soryu techniques. 3 years passed. Akaza was 18, and the girl was 16. She had recovered and could walk normally. The old man called the 2 of them and had a wish. "Could you take over this dojo and marry my daughter?" Both children blushed, proving they had feelings for each other. Akaza was very moved. Bearing the mark of a criminal, he never thought of such a bright future. That now, the life he dreamed of had become reality. He swore he would protect it until his last breath, even sacrificing his life. That spring, standing on the mountain watching fireworks, Akaza proposed to the girl. He was truly happy to have her. The next day, Akaza visited his late father's grave. He told him what had happened and said he had found the happiness of his life. But life wasn't a dream. When he returned, Akaza heard the 2 father and daughter had been murdered. They were poisoned by drinking water from the well. To take over the Soryu dojo, the Kenjutsu dojo did that despicable act. Witnessing the death of the 2 people he promised to protect, Akaza fell into despair. His desire to be human once again was extinguished. In the following days, people in the village spread news of a horrifying event. 67 martial artists from the Kenjutsu dojo were dead, skulls crushed, internal organs torn apart. Not a single body was whole. Body parts were scattered everywhere in the dojo. The one who did this was none other than Akaza. This event even drew the attention of Muzan at the time. He didn't expect the one who did it to be a human, Nai demon. Before Akaza could punch him in the face, Muzan was faster. He pierced his hand through Akaza's head to transmit his blood. He wanted to create 12 powerful demons to be his subordinates. Due to the impact on his brain, Akaza lost his memories. He had become a true demon, only knowing how to kill and slaughter. Thanks to losing his head, his memories flooded back. He knew who he was and what that girl was to him. After a while, Tanjiro woke up. What he saw was Akaza's body regenerating. He immediately grabbed his sword. No matter what, I have to kill you, even if I have to cut off your head how many times. But unfortunately, the sword slipped from his hand. His body was truly paralyzed. He no longer had the strength to hold his sword. He still charged forward to give Akaza a love punch. Of course, he was fine and was activating his compass needle skill. Very quickly, Tanjiro pushed the water Hashira out of the attack's range. But surprisingly, Akaza used it to injure himself. Tanjiro smelled a scent of gratitude from Akaza. He smiled. His body continued to regenerate, but he requested it stop immediately. That's enough. In his consciousness, he met his beloved wife again. This is the true happiness I wished for. He initiated the end of the battle. His body disintegrated, much to the surprise of the two brothers. They couldn't think anymore. Both passed out immediately after because they were too exhausted. Dama also sensed that his friend Akaza was dead. He laughed loudly. After all, that guy never ate women, and even refused to kill them. If he ate women like me, I'm sure he would have been much stronger. Since that's the case, Dama will eat in his friend's place. With lightning speed, he teleported right behind Kana's neck. Luckily, she reacted in time and slashed her sword right into his stomach. Very quickly, ice was fanned out, but it wasn't enough to injure Kana. She wasn't affected by Dama's freezing cold air on her lungs. He admitted Kana was stronger than the insect Hashira. In reality, she was very scared standing before an upper-ranked demon. Her body trembled. She wanted to scream in fear. But strong hatred suppressed that fear. Hatred turned into strength, helping her still stand here. Flower breathing, fifth form, a barrage of slashes aimed straight at Dama. The two continuously unleashed their techniques. While fighting, Dama also noticed Kana's trick. She looked at his shoulders, eyes, legs, and knees to predict his next moves. He knew where to aim. A fan swept horizontally across Kana's eyes. Very quickly, she dodged and counterattacked with a sword struck to his neck. He swept a fan containing cold air, pushing Kana far away to prevent her from getting close to him. He created two ice figures from which cold air blew, freezing her hair, forcing her to quickly dodge. This was a long-range technique, so she couldn't get close to him. On top of that, he also snatched the sword from her hand without her knowing. A swordsman losing their sword is as good as defeated. The ultimate blood demon art was unleashed. Countless ice flower petals, sharp as blades, flew everywhere. Hana couldn't dodge and couldn't defend. She could only widen her eyes and wash to avoid the petals flying into vital parts, until everything became too much for her to bear. Nasuke arrived to rescue her. Beast breathing, fifth fang, crazy gale. A whirlwind blew away the ice flower petals. This must be upper rank too. If I kill him, I'll become a Hashira with the name Beast Hashira. Kana came closer and told him the insect Hashira was eaten alive by Dama. This made Inosuke incredibly enraged. The insect Hashira was a good girl, always helping everyone wholeheartedly. Yet you dared to do that. Inosuke quickly rushed forward and slashed madly at Dama. Then Inosuke finished the combo by kicking back the fan. Dama praised Inosuke. His movements were quite agile. Moreover, Inosuke also seized the opportunity to retrieve Kana's sword. Seeing his item lost, Dama charged forward to get it back. The two had a small sparring match, but kept their distance. Inosuke prepared his stance, swinging his sword from a distance. Dama judged that it couldn't reach him. Yet, it cut Dama's head in half. This is beast breathing, ninth fang, by adjusting his joints, making them longer. But Inosuke hadn't fully mastered this technique yet. That's why the sash only grazed Dama's neck. Inosuke was thinking about his next move, when thump, his mask was snatched by Dama. Inosuke's real identity was revealed. And why did Dama find it familiar? Had he seen that face somewhere before? Inosuke didn't listen. I don't have a mother. A wild boar raised me. He decided to charge forward to get his mask back, but Dama slashed him very quickly and kicked him far away. He was about to tell a story, so don't interrupt. Dama poked his finger into his head to recall old memories. About 15 years ago, a woman around 18 years old, holding a baby, came to him begging. Her face was terribly disfigured from abuse by her husband. Dama felt pity and took care of her and the child. From that day on, when her beauty recovered, her face looked exactly like Inosuke's, a delicate and gentle beauty. Because of this beauty, Dama decided not to eat the mother and child. He would keep the mother beside him to serve him. There was a lullaby that he had heard many times during those days. He sang a line that immediately made Inosuke remember. The lullaby from then and the image of his mother appear. Then one day, she discovered Dama eating other followers, so she took Inosuke and ran away from the temple. The deep forest made her unable to find her way back. To protect her son, she dropped Inosuke down a cliff. Immediately after, she was murdered by Dama. Inosuke fell into a river below. By some miracle, he survived to this day. That is Inosuke's past. Inosuke, he knew who his mother was. His mother didn't abandon him. It was this bastard who ate his mother. Inosuke picked up his swords again and showed clear anger on his face. Dama attacked first with his ice dust. Inosuke swung his swords, creating a fan, blowing everything away. Dama was very interested in Inosuke's techniques. He didn't even care about Kana nearby. Just one fence sweep and he could send her flying. Because Akaza was dead, he had no intention of playing around here anymore. He had to immediately go protect the Demon King Muzan. Before leaving, he created his own clones using ice magic. They look small and cute, but they are very strong. Their skills are no different from the original body. Their strength is equivalent. Tenai and Inosuke had to struggle to fight them. The doll continuously spammed techniques non-stop, giving Dama time to leave leisurely. The thought suddenly occurred to him. Why don't I create more clones to go slaughter all the Hashira? And then 3 more dolls were born. Inosuke was anxious, as Dama was about to escape. Just then, Inosuke was hit by the doll's technique. And that marks the end of this heart-pounding chapter in the epic battle between the Hashira and the Upper Moons. A chapter filled with blood, sacrifice, and long-buried truths. From the heartbreaking loss of the insect Hashira, to Zenitsu's awakening, and the fated clash between the Wind Hashira and Upper Moon 1. This is only the beginning. Thank you so much for watching until the end. The story is far from over, and even more intense twists are waiting just ahead. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe so you won't miss the next chapter, where the stakes get even high. We'll see you in the next episode of this unforgettable war between humanity and demons.